What's good everyone, Shura here, bringing you an explanation on why your cards cost so much. I've created like a timeline of previously expensive cards as examples to show you what I mean by how cards are expensive. If you guys don't really know how the secondary market works because you play Yu-Gi-Oh online or other factors like that. So Mirror Force came out in one of the original Yu-Gi-Oh sets. It was obviously an amazing card back then. It was an absolute blowout. Your opponent would summon use their normal summon 2 free monsters. You activate Mirror Force, destroy their free monsters. You basically wasted 3 of their turns because normal summon was extremely essential. That's all you had back in the day. And Mirror Force was an extreme blowout, and it got limited for a very long time until Yu-Gi-Oh became that advanced that Mirror Force wasn't as broken as it was back in the day. So Castell came out of Duelist Alliance, wasn't that expensive. I think it was about $15 plus. If I'm wrong about that, please correct me in the comment section. But obviously it's generic rank 4, power creeped 101, even though 101 is still a good card. That's why it kept that price range. Obviously it's gone down now with reprints and with the fact that other decks have like taken the spotlight on rank 4 spam, except Zodiac, but they would rather go into Daigusto Emerald than that. But rank 4 like spam decks or rank 4 decks that can easily utilize rank 4s like ABC have kind of like zoned out of the meta right now. And then Necros of Brionic and Necros of Trishula, two of the more extreme examples. Trishula sitting at 85, Brio over 100. Lucky if you get back when Brio first came out, you'd lucky if you'd get a copy of this card underneath 100, to be honest. So obviously these cards were expensive because they were extremely short printed in the Secret Forces. And then Pepe, Luster, Ignista, Sorcerer. Luster being a $50 super rare, which was mad considering if you think about it, nowadays we have super rares in every pack. Back in Clash of Rebellion's format, we didn't have a super rare in every pack, so super rares were harder to obtain. There was like 1 luster per box, so sometimes you wouldn't even get a luster in a box, making the card expensive. And because so many people needed it for Pepe deck, because Plush 5 plus Luster was one of the most broken 2-card combos you could have. Obviously, it would maintain that price range. Ignista, you don't target and you get to spin. Spinning's probably the best way of removing monsters, and obviously the non-targeting thing, you can literally out anything. Hashtag free Ignista, seeing you around in the comment section. Love your comments, by the way. But I've already done a Bandless Freedom on why both these cards should come back to free filling format. And then Sorcerer, when it first came out, for sneak peek prices, $90. I think I've seen videos where Sorcerer was $90, and then I think it kind of went down to 60, and then it went even more down when Pepe got emergency hit. But still a extremely expensive card. More recently, Spirit Dragon, Return of the Dragon Lords, and Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon was it was a $20 secret when it came out, or £20, around about that much. I don't really do money conversions in my head, so I just kind of generalize it. But dollars and pounds are pretty close together, so you get what I mean. But yeah, $20 not that expensive, but still a fairly expensive card, because you had to play around 2 copies and some people maxed out on it. That's gonna put $40, $60 more to the deck, making Blue Eyes a fairly expensive deck when it came out. Return of the Dragon Lords was pretty mad as well. It was worth more than the structure deck, and I personally bought the structure decks because I'd rather have extra cards than buy Return of the Dragon Lord separately. I don't know who would rather not have extra cards, free cards in it. And then Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, obviously when it first came out of the movie pack, $35, and then it went down to like 25, and now it's sticking around 10. I personally got my playset for £25, which is around about $30 for you guys, so pretty good deal, to be honest. I got this when Blue Eyes hype died down, obviously. And then MX Saber Invoker more recently, out of Order of Chaos, a Zexal set. Order of Chaos, it wasn't really expensive, but then the minute Zodiacs, or Juinshi as they're called in the OCG, were announced, Invoker skyrocketed and it came up to like 80. I've seen listings at 90, and then obviously it's come back down with the reprint and stuff. So if you guys don't know why these cards are so expensive, it's pretty much a simple business concept. It's supply and demand. With a low supply of cards, so example Brionic, because it was short printed, that's a low supply. But because Necros were the best deck, there was a high demand. So obviously the price had to keep on increasing, making sure that it wasn't too easily accessible and everybody could get it, because then the copies would run out. Whereas if you kept it at a high price, only then top end players would buy it. So there'd be enough supply to meet the demand, and obviously the people who are demanding them would be willing to pay these high prices because they're paying at competitive levels. And then obviously same concept is if a card's not being played and there's a high supply. So obviously now with cards like Sorcerer, even the secret rare version, like let's ignore the super rare, I don't have the secret rare but I have the super rare, but with the secret rare version, obviously nobody plays Pendulums properly anymore. They're not a competitive deck. They seem okay in Link format, but Pendulum Sorcerer isn't good in Link format because, as I've said countless times before, you don't want to stack up your extra deck. You want to Pendulum summon from your hand, go into a Link monster, and then like kind of protect that Link monster, summon like a Ignista or like a kind of boss monster, if you will, and then you slowly gain momentum so you can be able to Pendulum summon up to 3-4 monsters from your extra deck. So Pendulum Sorcerer being a secret rare, I think it's at like maximum $2 right now, from $65 to $2. That's a huge drop, and obviously that's because there's a low demand for it, nobody wants it, and there's a high supply because everybody wants to sell off their secrets because they don't need them. So that's why your cards are so expensive. And I just want to discuss, is this right? Is it right for cards to be so expensive that only these top end players like Billy Brake, by the way, him getting banned really frustrated me. I definitely wanted him to go to Worlds. If you guys want me to do a separate video on this, other Yu-Gi tubers have done it, but if you guys want me to do it, I might consider it. Billy Brake, Patrick Holborn, Jeff Jones, players like that, Elvis Vu from Team Jobber, he's a good player as well. Seeing him in the YCS Seattle finals, I think. Was it YCS Seattle or Anaheim? YCS Anaheim finals, that's it. Seen him in there. So obviously these top end players, they're willing to pay so much. Is it right that they can only have access to the cards because they're willing to pay that much, and casual players like myself and a load of you guys, because I've seen you guys say like there's this one guy said he's a broke college student, which is 100% believable. There's loads of broke college students out there in the world, and loads of broke college students playing Yu-Gi-Oh right now, so obviously that's 100% believable. So is it fair for them to only access the cards, and people like us not being able to access these extremely expensive cards like Dragonic Diagram and like Huge Forehead and Joyous Spring? So I personally believe it technically is fair, because if you're willing to invest that much money into a hobby, you know that you're going to be playing at a competitive level, and you're going to be winning at a competitive level just like all these top end players do. But obviously if you're just playing at a locals and stuff, if that's all you play with, if you don't play at a regional or willing to go to YCS, I don't recommend picking up like cards like Dragonic Diagram and Ash Blossom, because you're wasting your money. Locals isn't as that competitive that you need to like invest into Dragonic Diagram and invest into Ash Blossom. It's not like that. But I believe it is fair for that concept. Plus there's this whole discussion on pay to win. Is Yu-Gi-Oh pay to win? It's pay to win when you have a casual like at a locals. So I've seen one of DZ's videos where it was a funny video. He said he spent $300 to get second place at locals. That was fairly funny, considering he picked up his Dragonic Diagrams and stuff when they were fairly expensive, and he got second place against this guy who wasn't playing as a deck that wasn't as expensive. So when you have like low-end players like me and you guys, if you guys are competitive, I'm sorry, but I assume that most of you guys aren't at that competitive level or willing to pay that much for it, because I've seen your comments. But anyways, if you have me and you guys who are not willing to pay that much, and you have other players like Billy Brake who just get the best deck straight away, it comes out, I'm going to pay full prices, end of story, I have to get these cards to play at my event. It's pay to win in that respect, that if you're playing casual versus competitive, the competitive guy is most of the time going to win because he's put more money into the better cards, and obviously Konami makes the best cards the hardest to get, making them the most expensive. But once you get to a competitive level, like one of them high-end regionals or YCSs, then the pay to win is eliminated, because people who are going into a YCS know that they have to put their money in. So there's like 700 people normally go to a YCS, that's average. So all 700 people, majority, I'd say 95%, are going to have these expensive cards like Dragonic Diagram and like Ash Blossom, therefore eliminating this whole pay to win thing. So at a competitive level, pay to win doesn't really exist because everybody has access to everything. But at a locals level, with casual versus competitive, then pay to win exists. And I don't like that Yu-Gi-Oh so expensive. I would prefer, like when Brio came out, I would prefer him to be a $10 card. Everybody can play Necro, it's fun. But unfortunately, it's the company behind this is a scumbag company, and we have to deal with that. Konami of the TCG do not care. They do not care about the player base. they care about their profit, which is 100% believable. As a business, if I had a business, I would definitely care a lot more about my profit than my player base, even though like appealing to your player base does increase your profit. But they know they can put the minimal effort into their business strategies and stuff, into like appealing to the player base and giving them what they want. They can put the minimum effort into this because they know people will still play this game because of how much people have invested in it in the past, how much this game has affected people's lives. Konami know that they can do whatever they want and they can get away with whatever they want. They changed Pendulum Evolution into a booster set from a structure deck. If the Yu-Gi-Oh community cared so much, we'd have a huge uprising. We'd say, no, we're not going to your tournaments. No, we're not doing this. We're not giving in. We're not mace assists. But unfortunately, because we care about this game too much, same with me, I care about this game too much. I want this game to carry on. I want the company to do good, so they keep providing us with good cards, because I want that to happen. And people like me don't want that to happen. Then there's not going to be any uprising. There's not going to be any boycotts because everybody loves this game too much. I know people play online because they don't like buying the physical cards, but then the whole competitive level is about playing in real life and stuff. I know, yeah, it's fun playing on YGO Pro Ranked, it's fun getting the highest rating, but that's nothing compared to these people going to YCSs and winning these prize cards. So in that respect, pay to win does not exist at all, to be honest, in the competitive scene. And there's one more thing about why cards cost so much. The one, supply and demand, which is totally justified. Obviously, more people want the card. But the other thing is, this is really annoying. I see it on House of Chance Market Watch all the time, and it's buyouts. It's people who are exploiting the flaws of the secondary market, and they're like, okay, look, people will need this card in the future, so we're gonna go on eBay, we're gonna go on TCG Player. It's not that this is more in America than in Europe, but it's still annoying. Sorry for the noise. There's some ambulance outside. I'm sorry, but people exploit the secondary market. This happens more in America than Europe, because Europe have sites like TCG market. No, not TCG market. Card market, where it's basically user based. So it's hard to cause buyouts on there because of how much quantity there is. But on sites like TCG Player, if for example like Cypher, Gemini Seraphinite, that's one of the most recent buyouts. So what people decided to do is they decided to go on eBay, buy all the copies there, go on TCG Player, buy all the copies there, and then relist Seraphinite at a higher price. Now that isn't anything to do with Konami. We can't blame Konami for that. It's to do with these vendors who decide to exploit the secondary market, who don't really care that much about the community. They care more about making their own profit, which is morally wrong. I know they want to make their business, but there's better ways to make their business. They don't have to cause these buyouts, making cards harder to obtain that shouldn't be harder to obtain. Buyouts really do annoy me because, in my opinion, it's just people being greedy. If you guys disagree with me, please post in the comment section down below, and I am more than willing to get in a discussion with you, because if you guys haven't seen me on other videos, I do generally get into discussions with other people, because I feel if you guys are willing to reply to my comments or make comments about a certain video or something and I don't agree, I want to share my opinion with you. That's natural, that's the way I act. So obviously, if you guys don't agree, or if you guys agree, then please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. So thank you guys for watching. I know I did promise to go a bit slower, but I've realised that I have talked a bit faster, not extremely fast like on my Cyber Angel video, but pretty fast, to be honest. So I'm going to carry on trying to sort that out as well, because I know it's kind of hard to understand what I say sometimes. And don't take the Scrubrit video into account, because that was meant to be said fast on purpose to like kind of show, oh, Scrubrit doesn't care about you. It was kind of the joke behind it. So once again, thank you guys for watching. I'm really happy with the growth of my channel. This has been Shurek. Peace.